Hey guys, I'm totally freeforming this and holding the camera today. So I wanted to share what's on my table. Now, this is something I've never done before either. I'm gonna try to flip the camera. Let's see if it. Woo! Okay, awesome. That totally worked. So you can see my table is totally taken over by a series of little squares. This is basically my attempt to sort through a big project. So I want to talk about this a little bit and then I'll just share the process that I'm using. So basically, I want to launch an album. That's the big project I have on the go right now. So The Criminal Kid is my band, and we have one album out already. But this new one that I'm launching in probably at the beginning of January, sometime in mid January, maybe, it's going to be like if I want to actually have like a good album launch and not just like, release it to like a few friends and family members, then there's a huge process. And I don't know a lot about music marketing. So I'm setting aside some time each week to study music marketing. But I also, just because it's also new to me, and there's so many components in releasing an album, I just have like no idea what I'm doing basically. So I've read, I think, 3 or 4 books so far in the last week or two, just to kind of get a handle on the steps involved, like overview steps. So, for example, I just read a book, I think it was called Music Marketing for the Do It Yourself Musician. It was like 800 pages. It was a really big book, but it was pretty comprehensive in terms of like all of the different steps that you have to take. So, what I've been doing from that is taking notes, and then I've been translating those notes into essentially like this giant brainstorm. So, what I like to do, I have, I don't know, I just have like this stock of random, like cardstock type paper. So it's like thick paper. I have a bunch of different colors and stuff. It's just the kind of thing I like having around. I cut it up into little pieces, little squares. So then, I ran out of gray actually. So that's why I switched over to blue. But anyway, I cut it into little pieces, one page at a time. If I need more, I cut up another page. And then I try to this is sort of like a big countertop mind map. So the reason I didn't do a mind map in a notebook is because I knew I wasn't going to have the right amount of space. I knew I needed like an entire work surface. Ah, yes, Mayar is noticing the little doodle. Thank you. Yes, that is the thing that I do. You can also see on this piece of paper, I keep track of how much time I'm spending on various work tasks and stuff like that. So anyway, so I'm trying to, yeah, basically come up with basically like the orbiting points. So creating music videos, fleshing out the website, customer analysis, social media, info is sort of like there just seems to be a lot of things that I need to learn or like get hooked up with blogs that I should start following, things that I kind of want to buy, performance related tasks, finding band members to play with tasks, um, products and services. So like what I'm going to offer, like what kind of merchandise. There's a whole thing on radio, branding, and then in the middle here, I have kind of the vision. What is the band that I'm in? What is the image? What is my message? What's the whole point? And then like a SWOT analysis of that, which is a pretty common like kind of business practice. Music licensing, which man, I feel like I have 3 books on my read list just all about licensing. And then goals. This is more how I'm going to organize all the information that's sitting on the table. Album release, album launch, promotion, etc. So basically, I feel like I have the major categories of the next essentially year in front of me here. So what I'm going to do next, and maybe I'll share this process with you tomorrow and make it kind of like a two-parter, but I'm basically going to be taking this entire layout and organizing it into some kind of coherent timeline. What I really, really need is a sense of what I'm going to be working on for the next, I don't know, yeah, for basically like at least the next 4 months, like up until launch, but then also probably like at least the next few months post launch. So without a timeline, without having a sense of when the moving parts have to all align and stuff like that, I'm basically just going to be executing things at random. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to just like do random things. I want to have like a clear idea of where I'm going, a clear vision. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't want to drive a car with a blindfold on. Is basically how I feel right now. So um, yeah, so basically, I'm going to take everything that I have on the table here, and I'm going to, I think the way I'm going to design this, I haven't totally decided yet, but I want to organize. So there's a web program, it's like an app and like a program that you can use on your computer called Notion. And it's kind of like a really sophisticated notebook. So if you've ever used Evernote before, I think it's a much better version of Evernote because it allows you to do lots of internal linking. It's kind of like being able to design a web page, sort of, but like really fast and simple and just like for your own organization. So I think I'm gonna just create like a giant table of contents in order of execution. And I think like what I want to come out of this tomorrow is a marketing plan, essentially. Just like I want to have like a like basically like a 20 or 30 page booklet. I don't think I'm going to get that far, but I want to at least outline what's going to go in it, so that I have like a sense of, okay, this has to happen here, this has to happen here, this has to happen here. These things need to happen month one, these things need to happen month two. But it all begins with just like a giant brain dump. So another thing that I do this for, this is a, like, I encourage you to give this a try. I find this really, really helpful for my brain. But I've done this for piano TV courses. This is a, yeah, this is pretty much verbatim what I did for like my last couple of piano TV courses. Any like big project that it just feels like there's a lot of ideas that you have to get out there and just sort and move things around like puzzle pieces. This is actually maybe a little bit inspired by Getting Things Done by David Allen, because David Allen has this whole thing where basically my biggest takeaway from that book, it's a great book, totally changed my life when I read it for the first time, but that you just like do a massive brain dump, like every random thought, like, oh, I should watch that movie, or oh, I need to change my oil or whatever, like any, or like I dream of doing this one day. You just put everything down on like a sheet of paper, and then by the end of this like immense brain dump process, you're left with like epic amounts of paper. So the first time I did that, I had like, I was on my living room floor and I was just surrounded by this spread of like ideas. And then the idea is to take that like brain dump and then organize it into something clear, so you feel like you don't have this nagging feeling of, oh, I need to do something in the back of your head. You kind of feel like content and relaxed that you've taken care of everything by giving it careful thought, and that nothing has been forgotten. So that was essentially the whole point of why I decided to do this. And yeah, maybe I'll share a little bit more about the process later. But for now, I will just wrap it up here. Thanks for joining today, guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow.